1, go. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. My name is Caster Sata. I'm joined by Soldra once again for game number 2 between Invictus Gaming and Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Energy Pacemaker took game number 1 in a very convincing manner with PDD and Illusion quitting the game StarCraft 2 style by leaving, straight up disconnecting, before finally reconnecting and then surrendering. So hopefully Invictus Gaming will be able to turn it around in this game too.
Right, I mean, it was an amazing performance from both Amazing J and Kane on the side of Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Those guys are the two carries. Those guys are the two carries for this EP.HK squad, and IG knew that. But how IG allowed Amazing J's Dr. Mundo and Kane's Lucian to get so far ahead just completely puzzles me.
Amazing J did such a phenomenal job laning against PDD. He really was able to shut him down. We can see from the bans Invictus Gaming, first ban taking that Mundo away from Amazing J. Interestingly enough, though, this is going to be EP banning away Lucian for Kane.
Right, they do not want Kid to get that Lucian. I talked about before how Kid was really good on those Trinity Force carries. I expect either a Renekton or Shyvana to go here. It will probably be a Shyvana, but I can already see a Shyvana and Renekton matchup in that top lane. Should either squad not decide to go through on a lane switch. But yeah, the Shyvana is being locked in. Good call from IG.
PDD going to be taking the Dragon of Demacia against Amazing J. Amazing J, seeing that locked in, knows what he's got to lane against, has got no problem picking up a few of the other carries for Energy Pacemaker. Interestingly enough, though, Bu Ping's Lee Sin is still open. Bu Ping's Lee Sin, surprisingly effective in game number 1 with the Spirit of the Elder Lizard, but instead it looks like Energy Pacemaker is going to secure Ziggs for Super Cat and Leona for Amazing J, for Domo.
I really liked squads that completely changed things up between two games. Here we see a completely new team composition from Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Last game they had who do they have on support? No, they actually do keep the Leona support, but Ziggs is a relatively different champion than Gragas. Ziggs doesn't scale as hard as Gragas does, but his initial wave clear is amazing. Look for Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong to try to make plays in the early game and shove towers early with that Ziggs Mega Inferno, with that Ziggs Super Mega Bomb. This does tell me that EP.HK might be interested in picking a Renekton up here to lane against that Shyvana just for that squad to win early and be able to snowball certain advantages around the map.
ZZ Tai looking like he might lock in what appears to be Alistar, and yes, he is going to lock that in for Kitties. Now, Alistar isn't something that we've seen too much. He was very, very popular in the Korean meta, I do believe, and before he was picked up by Afromu in the NALCS, so he's seeing a bit of a resurgence.
Right. One of the reasons why Alistar is really popular is because he's such but he is a lane counter to a Leona, especially if Leona Silver lane do clear waves very quickly. So if a Leona decides to engage an Alistar lane under the enemy turret, Alistar has a chance to use his knock up, his pulverize, and after that knock back Leona into their own turret and allow the bottom lane from IG to get a kill. Vayne Alistar is actually a very typical famous lane combo, and they do synergize extremely well together. On the side of EP.HK, I did say that Renekton might be picked up, and that is indeed the pickup for Amazing J. I'm really interested to see how he will do on that champion.
Now, going back to that bot lane, it looks like Kane is going to be taking Sivir in this matchup, not going to be going for that Lucian that he had in game number 1, as he did ban it out. Now, Sivir is a very, very potent hyper carry, and I think she can do rather well, trading with Kid and Kitties on what appears to be Vayne Alistar. While that does mean that any sort of engages that Domho throws out with Zenith Blade Shield of Daybreak are going to be countered, he's going to have a little bit of an easier time farming, as it's going to be really hard for Kitties to punish Kane on Sivir.
Right. The only thing about this matchup is that Vayne is also another lane counter to Sivir, as most of her early game damage is entirely auto attack based with that Silver Bolt's proc passive. He does Vayne does do damage beyond Sivir's spell shield. So this is pick and ban phase is entirely going IG's way because they have very good peel for Vayne in the form of Alistar and Gragas. Gragas combines synergizes extremely well with a Vayne just because Vayne is very good at 1v1 dueling and so can just pick up duels all around the map after Gragas uses ZZ Tai uses his explosive cask, and 2 because IG has a very well-defined way of engaging on Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong's carries. Last game, the Rengar Evelynn combo coming out from IG just quite simply did not do their job. They were shut down by Dumbho's Leona and weren't able to get any damage onto Kane's Lucian at all. This game, that should not be that much of a problem.
And I do like the new pickups out of Invictus Gaming. Illusion taking Vi, PDD rocking that Shyvana in the top lane. It's a very tanky composition, especially with Kitties on Alistar to help keep Kid alive. While they don't have a very solid early game with their team composition, I feel if they can make it past about the 25 or 30 minute mark, once Kid is able to secure his Blade of the Ruined King and Phantom Dancer, he should be able to deal with anything that Energy Pacemaker throws at them.
And Sata, I'm really excited for this game, specifically excited for this game, just because of the team composition coming out from Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. This team composition and the way Energy EP.HK plays out this second match in the second game in this 2-match set will be a very good indicator of how experienced and how much class and how calm EP.HK is able to act as a team. This composition relies entirely on early game split pushing and using those early game advantages to completely snowball themselves on other locations around the map. If EP.HK isn't able to do that, they might even get inside their own heads a little and recognize the fact that IG has a better late game composition and eventually falter. So look for EP.HK to push their advantages extremely aggressively early and try to make significant plays all around the map, especially with booping on that Lee Sin.
And once again, it looks like we are going to see a lane swap as Kane already in that top lane, so doesn't want to be dealing with Kid and Kitty's Vayne Alistar combo, who are going to be heading towards the bottom. But already we can see this defensive line being taken. If Kitty spots out Domho's Leona, this could actually be rather bad for EP.HK, as that is going to give enough time for Kid and Kitties to deal with that rotation and try to go for a solid 2v2 lane, as Kid and Kitties are going to have a little bit of a laning advantage.
Right. I mean, honestly, Vayne is it shouldn't really matter for IG's bottom lane what this matchup necessarily is, specifically because they'll have a significant advantage laning against Renekton as laning against the opposing bottom lane from EP.HK. Remember what I said, that Renekton, Lee Sin, Ziggs are all about steamrolling advantages early. IG knows this and therefore should not want to let EP.HK get those early kills, get those early towers and early dragons in order to create a significant snowball-leable advantage in the 20-minute mark towards the mid-game. Therefore, IG should be very comfortable with where they are, and this early vision control is a slight win for them.
Booping looking like he's moving up with Kane and Domo. Of course, Super Cat is in position on Ziggs to allow that collapse to be successful, but Invictus Gaming respond with a blue steal of their own. So once again, we are going to have blues being traded away for both of the junglers. So it's fairly... I'd like to say that it isn't standard, but seeing it 2 games in a row is usually indicative of it actually being standard. So really a standard opening.
Right. I mean, this just indicates how much research both teams have done on each other. They know that they know that the opposing squad likes to invade and therefore have responded with their own invades. Really interesting here. Actually, never mind. I thought they were invading on the opposite side. So right now we see these 2v1 lanes, standard 3.15 meta. Top laners taking 1 or 2 jungle camps before heading to that top lane to collect CS on the other side of the map, and we'll really have to see how quickly this Sivir Leona lane from Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong can push down that can push down the top lane tower, because if they don't push it down quickly enough, and IG is able to respond with a rotation after their own first tower taken, then that can prove disastrous for this EP.HK early game squad.
That will most certainly be a complete reversal of the first game, as EP.HK did shove out their bottom lane in game number 1 and rotate it into the first dragon of the game, which allowed them to take an early advantage, which they snowballed rather well. But this time, Kane and Domo look like they are going to be pushing this turret very, very quickly. Of course, Kid and Kitty's shoving as well. But the difference is going to be Illusion is also in that bottom lane shoving. Whereas Amazing J looks like he's getting dived, takes a condemn over the wall. Did he burn his flash? He actually didn't, so he is rather safe for the time being. But with Illusion waiting in that bottom lane to try to take the turret, this is Invictus Gaming setting a solid pace.
Right, I mean, Invictus Gaming is eventually going to be able to take, and that was a really weird Zenith Blade coming out from Leona right there, but Invictus Gaming is surely going to be able to take this turret relatively quickly, even if they don't take it on this, unnecessarily take it on this minion rotation. Amazing J's only level 1, he just hit level 2, while PDD is level 3 in the top lane, so you can really see PDD, you saw PDD stick around in the red side jungle in order to farm wraiths, in order to farm wolves, and then after that go up to lane against the bottom lane of EP.HK, albeit losing a few CS in the process. However, you can just see how effective that is for IG, because they're able to hold this turret lane, this top lane turret relatively well against a combo of Sivir and Leona.
Whoa, ZZ Tai getting a little bit low there, trading with Super Cat. This could be a little bit dangerous for ZZ Tai, but I don't think he should have too much trouble with it. And you're exactly right. It does look like Invictus Gaming is changing the pace of the matchup a bit. That very aggressive play in the bottom lane. Whoa, a flash body slam gets a lot of damage onto Super Cat. Despite the barrier, Ignite burns away. The auto attack disappears after his death, and Super Cat goes down, giving first blood to Illusion.
That was a really nice bait from ZZ Tai, knowing exactly what his limits were and exactly how the Ignite and Barrier Summoner spells would work in that small interaction between the mid laners of Invictus Gaming and Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Good on Illusion to be able to pick up that kill. As I might point out that this is entirely going IG's way so far, and is a complete reversal of what we saw last game, where IG looked fairly indecisive and wasn't able to garner many early advantages around the map.
Looks like Illusion wants to go for a bit of a dive, but he is standing on top of a ward, so he should be able to recognize that by now. Kid and Kitty should be able to take down this turret, but they turn onto Amazing J. Here, Super Cat from the fresh respawn throws out a lot of damage. Kid getting low. Illusion soaks the Ignite for him. Amazing J, so he is going to be able to escape. Kid throws down a bit of a barrier to keep himself alive, and this is going to be Invictus Gaming with the escape. But in the meanwhile, in the top lane, Kane and Domo are continuing to farm.
Right, and I mean, ZZ Tai is going to be able to push in that way, which is would be fairly advantageous for him, especially since he did pick up the early assist. The star of that show, really, and the reason why Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong were able to respond so well to the dive coming in from Booping's. Sorry, the reason why IG were able to respond so well from the dive coming in from Booping's Lee Sin was because there was a ward in that small brush, so they were able to call the mid laner EP Super Cat in order to come down and try to respond with a counter gang. Unfortunately for EP.HK, though, they didn't get any kills.
That is going to be the first turret also going over to Invictus Gaming. Kane looking like he's going to respond by taking this top turret as well for himself, so that is going to even up the gold just a bit. But Invictus Gaming setting the pace of the matchup with Illusion, going for some very, very aggressive plays. Shoving out that bottom lane, just showing his face in the tribush to keep Amazing J away from the minions, and forcing a reaction out of Booping and Super Cat. This allows PDD and ZZ Tai to farm up in their own respective lanes, and we can see a very solid advantage starting to grow into PDD's favor.
Right, but you also have to wonder what EP.HK and IG are going to do after this, knowing that they just took both the top and bottom lane turrets. They could either decide to switch completely, and EP.HK could head towards the bottom lane and IG could head towards the top lane, or they could all group up in the mid lane and eventually contest Dragon, which would mean we'll see a large dragon fight very soon in around 9 minutes or so, maybe even earlier as IG looks to posture around dragon.
All 5 members of Invictus Gaming are in position. They are going to engage upon it. It's still going to be a little bit before Domo is going to make it to the fight, so he's not going to be able to throw out too much damage. Of course, Kane has had enough time, Kid has had enough time to throw out a healthy amount of damage and really chunk that down, but PDD, really the star player for IG for the time being, is just doing so very well compared to Amazing J. He has completed his Ninja Tabby for additional mobility, which is going to mean that he wants to go for roaming. As we can see, he's headed down towards that bottom lane, as once again, Kid and Kitty are retreating from Kane and Domo.
Yeah, it's really nice that you mentioned PD and how well he's doing. He's nearly doubled the CS of Amazing J, and he's had I think he's also might be a level above him too. He's just had such a high. He's just had so much more map presence throughout this game, as opposed to Amazing J's Renekton, and this is really going fairly disastrously for MG Pacemaker Hong Kong. EP.HK was supposed to get Renekton laning up against Shyvana so he can push an early advantage. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and since Renekton is fairly behind, since the Vayne, the Sivir is relatively even with the Vayne, which isn't a good tell at all, especially since Vayne gets scarier and scarier the later she goes on. But we see another kill right here.
We do have PDD going for the Dragon's Descent onto Kane. On the hunt being used, Booping is waiting, and it appears as though PDD is just going to back away. Illusion was in position to follow that up, but just blowing the ultimate from Kane is good enough, as PDD is going to continue to compound his advantage in that bottom lane. Now, the main difference here is that PDD isn't going to have that much trouble farming this wave. It looks like he now might have a bit of trouble. That Booping has showed up as well. But on the other hand, Amazing J is definitely going to have a tough time dealing with that crazy combo. And the dive goes out. A lot of damage going down onto PDD. Domo, not level 6, doesn't have Solar Flare quite yet, cannot lock PDD down. And they are going to take this turret.
Yeah, PDD basically just tried to mind game the 3 members from Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong right there. He knew that they had no vision of Illusion's Vi after he had initially ganked and saved PDD the first time in that lane. So he thought that they wouldn't be as aggressive. So he thought that the bottom lane from Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong would be as aggressive as they are. But a really nice pulverized combo coming out from EP.HK, and that might be a kill.
Amazing J getting dangerously low. Domin is narrowly keeping him alive, but Kid locking him up long enough to secure a Silver Bolt kill. And this is going to be a lot of continued pressure for Kid. On the other hand, Invictus isn't shoving their advantage in the top lane. They're continuing to wait it out, compound the advantage that they have, and try to increase the gold difference between Invictus and Energy Pacemaker, as it is currently about a 2,000 gold lead 11 minutes in.
Right, really nice poise coming from Kid, deciding not to flash over that wall, instead just put a ward over there and use his auto tech condemn combo to finish Amazing J off. Really, just a really nice heads-up play, really nice overall play coming out from Invictus Gaming. If they do take this top lane turret and eventually rotate over to the mid lane turret, which is fairly low, I believe, then EP.HK will be in a lot of trouble.
Domo and Kane once again responding to both Kid and Kitty's. Illusion is in position to try to get a gank. Of course, Booping is recalling, so we may not be able to engage. This could go very favorably if Invictus want to force a fight, but they are just going to back away and continue farming up. For the time being, Kid and Kitties are going to do pretty decent against Kane. They're going to have to be careful for Leona. Here comes the Vault Breaker. They are going to catch Domo. Looks like the support is going to be the target. Condemn going to lock him down into the wall for a very long amount of time. Mega Inferno Bomb being thrown away to try to help, but completely missing, as Supercat just is not able to contribute to the fight, and IG bring a 3-0 lead.
Right, that was really just not a smart use of the Mega Inferno Bomb from Supercat's Ziggs. He should have saved it to clear another wave across the map. The story of this game is EP.HK is just getting completely out-rotated right here. What they need to do is place some wards in their own jungle, especially since the members of IG are just completely dominating their side of the map as well as their own, and so they're dominating both sides of the jungle. And what EP.HK needs to do is put some wards down, put some defensive pink wards down as well, and then try to make a pick using the Ziggs, Renekton, and Lee Sin in order to catch 1 or 2 members off and try to steamroll that into a dragon or another tower.
in Energy Pacemaker, just doing a little bit behind. They're only about 2,500 gold back, but this early in the game, they can definitely change that with a quick dragon, try to take some turrets to further decrease that advantage. The main thing to keep an eye out for, though, is that Invictus has been the one who's been setting the pace of the game. All of the rotations have been called by both Kid and Kitties, and it seems as though it's Energy Pacemaker being forced to take the time to respond. And that time where they aren't actively deciding to take objectives and force whatever they can means that that's the time that Invictus can shove those early objectives, which is going to put them more and more ahead. As we can see, we do have 130 farm on ZZ Tie to 120 in Super Cat. It is about even on the AD carries, but in the top lane, PDD at a solid 40 farm advantage over Amazing J.
Right, and I mean, what EP.HK is doing right now is they're basically waiting for Dragon to come up, and they're hoping that their early game scaling of, and I mean, you see their Super Cat just burning his ultimate. They're hoping that their early game damage of a Renekton, of a Lee Sin, of a Ziggs will be able to mitigate some of the CS differences between their respective lane opponents, and they hope that they'll be able to come out with a win around the Dragon fight. However, given how strong IG's team fighting is looking right now, I don't know whether I just don't know whether Kid and ZZ Tie will, and PDD in fact, will let a lost team fight happen. They're just way too strong right now. I mean, Kid has 2 kills, Illusion has 1 kill, and then both ZZ Tie and PDD have CS advantages. I mean, they're just overall really strong right now.
This poor dragon has only just respawned, but he already has 10 champions swarming around the pit, and Invictus Gaming going for a bit of a rotation. Spirit of the Lizard Elder has been finished for Illusion. He gets caught a bit out of position as Amazing dashes in, but is not able to punish him for it. Of course, the Blade of the Ruined King has been finished on Kid, so we can really shred through the health of EP.HK. Let's see if they will be able to do it as the Dragon is engaged. Booping gets in. No, Illusion with a quick smite. In the meanwhile, Dragon's Rage being used for PDD. He dives onto Kane to force on the hunt to try to escape. And it looks like Invictus Gaming is just going to take the Dragon and casually walk out of this one.
I mean, really nice play from IG. They know that they don't have to do anything more but take the Dragon to just completely leave an imprint of themselves in Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong's mind. If I was a player on the EP.HK right now, I'd be really, really scared because I know that my composition is designed to win early, and the fact that I'm not winning early is just a tell of how badly they've been out rotated and how badly they've been outlaned throughout this game.
It will be up to EP.HK to turn this around. They are not out of this yet. It is about a 2,500 gold lead, now up to about a 3,000 gold. That's 4. I can definitely do math. A 4,000 gold lead in favor of Invictus Gaming, 16 minutes into the game. But with EP.HK grouping up in this mid lane, especially seeing that Kid is split and so too is PDD, they could actually secure themselves a pretty solid advantage if they want to fight, but instead it looks like they're going to back away as ZZ Tie forces the disengage.
Right, and I mean, so a lot of the members of EP.HK recalled or are about to recall, and we see Kid lining up and posturing just to take this tower right now. I don't know, given how excellent the wave clear coming out from Gragas is, I really don't know whether Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong in the long run can challenge this turret.
They do have a bit of a window of opportunity while PDD is disengaged. Amazing J doing a good job of keeping PDD locked down, but the level advantage is going to go securely in PDD's favor. Currently level 11 to level 9, which means that in team fights, PDD is going to have level 2 of his Dragon's Descent, so he will be able to trade very favorably with Energy Pacemaker, whereas Amazing J still only has level 1 of his Dominus, so he's not going to be able to absorb quite as much damage.
Right, and we keep talking about how PDD is a threat, and it's true. A 2-level advantage over your lane opponent does certainly make you a threat in any and all team fights, but we have to remember that most of the gold on this team is centered on Illusion and Kid's Vayne. Illusion picked up a Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and Kid on his Vayne already has a Blade of the Ruined King. This is a very, very scary duo coming out from the side of IG, and we really have to wonder whether EP.HK, despite their nice early game damage coming out that naturally comes out from their champions, really want to fight anything at this point in the game.
Now PDD continuing to farm up, currently at, what is that, a 50 farm advantage over Amazing J. Currently doesn't have any kills, but just his presence is so potent that Amazing J has to respond, which means that as long as the front line for Energy Pacemaker is missing, they're going to have a bit of trouble engaging. That's something that Invictus really wants, especially with Illusion on Vi, who can just throw down Assault and Battery onto Kane, lock him down for a long period of time, while Kid sits in the back and chunks through the rest of EP.HK.
I mean, the reason why the IG doesn't mind letting PDD Shyvana go and split push is because their roles are so well defined. We have Vi who dives, and there was an attempted blue buff steal right there. Well, he tried to secure his own blue buff, but unfortunately for the members of EP.HK, Illusion's Smite didn't let that happen. But as I was saying before, I mean, Illusion in a four-man squad from Invictus Gaming sans PDD. Obviously, PDD would be split pushing in this case, and he might actually never mind. Vi will go and dive the AD carry. Gragas will probably burst one or two members down or peel for Kid's Vayne, and then you know that Kid will just eventually completely clean up team fights at the end of the fight, so that they know their roles. However, EP.HK, Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong, knows that there is no way that they can burst any of the high priority targets down on IG, given how far back they are on gold. Therefore, they're really hesitant to make any fights, and they can't even contest for their own blue buff.
We can see the poke coming out from Super Cat and Kane with the Boomerang Blade, and Zig's Bouncing Bomb is immediately being regenerated by Kitties on Alistar. Those horns are certainly being quite effective, and he's just doing a great job of denying the pressure that EP.HK want to put out during that initial skirmishing. But for the time being, he is Energy Pacemaker is just not trading very favorably with PDD Invictus Gaming, as Invictus Gaming has a very solid advantage. Currently, PDD at 158 farm over Amazing J's 104 is just continuing to lock Amazing J down in that top lane, and while Renekton doesn't get his farm, that means he's not going to be able to scale into team fights, which is really where he shines.
Right, and fortunately for the side of IG, since ZZ Tai, we see a small fight here. PDD might have gotten a little bit caught, but he actually might be able to escape a three-man gank in the top lane. He's about to turn it around, but the nice thing for IG is that, and especially for IG's Kid on his Vayne, is that since IG has such good natural wave clear with the Illusion's denting blows. Is it the denting blows that does the behind damage? Yeah, with the denting Illusion's denting blows and ZZ Tai's explosive cask and barrel roll combo, they have such good wave clear that Kid can just go ahead and purchase a Phantom Dancer, which I believe he will turn that Zeal into, and instead of buying a static Shiv. When Kid buys his Phantom Dancer, that's when EP.HK is really in trouble, if they weren't in trouble already, because that means Kid will be able to just to move wherever he wants the map, provided that he has at least a little bit of crowd control peeling for him, and just really take over fights. But we see EP.HK getting a nice positional advantage on this dragon, even though I do not think that IG is going to let this dragon go smoothly.
IG grouping up. This is all 5 members of IG against the 4. Kane gets caught in a knock-up combo, but he's not going to engage. This is Kid now dodging around a few skill shots. IG in a very convincing position. Certainly going to try to take this dragon, and it seems like they just might, and they secure it for themselves, increasing their gold lead now to a solid 6,500 gold lead, and that number is just continuing to increase the longer and longer the game goes. And we've been spending so much time focused on Invictus Gaming, just turning this game around, because it really is impressive to see a team lose so convincingly in game number 1 and turn it around so strongly in game number 2. But Energy Pacemaker isn't out of this just yet. Souldra, what do you think they can do to really turn this game around?
Well, EP.HK currently is doing the right things. You're seeing signs of life all the indications of signs of life are there. They're going towards dragons. They're trying to make picks. They're warding all around their map. They're hiding in bushes. They're doing everything they can just to take one member of this IG squad and try to transition that kill into a positional or objective advantage. However, they're just not able to do that so far. What EP.HK needs to hope for is Booping and Amazing J to make a real, just a spectacular outplay on either Renekton or Lee Sin, and completely burst down Kid's Vayne before Kid is able to do anything. That's basically the only way they can win team fights or tower sieges at this point in the game. At 25 minutes in, where as ahead as IG is, they're just going to completely start outscaling the composition of Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. And Booping, you mentioned it exactly. He has to be able to get a catch with Amazing J. He hasn't been as effective this game. He has again opted for the Spirit of the Elder Lizard for damage to try to bring down the squishy carry that is going to be Kid's Vayne or ZZ Tai's Gragas. But last game, he went 3-0-7. But in this game, he's currently at 0-0-0. Not a single kill has been picked up for Energy Pacemaker. They're completely passive this time around.
Right, and you'll remember that I think about this point in the game, at about 20 minutes into game 1, Booping had actually participated in about 7 out of the 8 kills. I think we said 7 out of the 8 kills belonging to Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. But you can really see how the stranglehold that IG has put onto the members of EP.HK have really changed this game around for them.
Mm-hmm. And now they finally managed to catch Booping, but he is just so tanky on PDD, and with that completed Sunfire Cape and now a Spectre's Cowl, he will be able to soak damage from just about any member of Energy Pacemaker. As we see the continued pressure from Invictus Gaming on this mid turret, it still has not fallen 25 minutes in, but it doesn't need to. By forcing the members of Energy Pacemaker to respond to this constant pressure from PDD in the top lane and ZZ Tai in the mid lane, that's allowing Kid to take the time he needs to build that core item, get that Phantom Dancer finished, and now we're finally going to start seeing some action out of Invictus Gaming as they group up in the mid lane.
I honestly think that PDD should consider coming down to the mid lane and making and engaging Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong in a 5v5 fight, just so there's someone tanking the turret. Alistar is pretty good at tanking turret, but he doesn't hit from long range, so it's rather unfortunate for him. They did actually successfully force out Booping from that turret, and as I said before, PDD is coming down, so look for IG to successfully take this mid lane turret in the next 1 minute or so.
Mm-hmm. With Kayn pulled out of position, he is going to be unable to clear the minions, which means Kid shouldn't have that much trouble pushing it away. Oh, that's actually a cannon minion wave, so it was delayed a bit, so they did have a bit of time. The minion wave is going to make it to the turret in time, but Kid just going to chunk that down with that enormous attack speed. And let's see, Flash Pulverize catches all of the members of Energy Pacemaker. The turret falls, but oh, Domo gets a bit too far forward. Mega Inferno Bomb just barely tickles the hairs on the back of Vayne's cape, and ZZ Tai picks up the revenge kill onto Domo.
And honestly, the thing about that fight was that could have happened whenever IG wanted it to. It's just that right then, when Invictus Gaming decided to pull the trigger, I actually don't believe that every single member of IG was participating in that fight. But just, I mean, at this point, IG can honestly, provided that they correctly peel for Kid's Vayne, they could 4v5 anytime they want to, 25 minutes into this game.
And this is starting to further and further compound their gold advantage. We see that early loan taken out by IG really paying off. That interest is scaling so very, very well, as it is now a 9,500 gold lead in favor of Invictus Gaming. They have convincing map control by taking all of the tier 1 turrets away from Energy Pacemaker and even diving under the turret with a surprise knock-up out of Kitties. It was really impressive, and hopefully I'd like to see them continue to keep the pressure on. The longer they wait, the longer that Energy Pacemaker has time to turn it around.
Right, but even though Energy Pacemaker will have time to turn it around, we see a little fight right here, Kayn successfully flashes out of that fight. You have to remember how the reason why IG's composition works so well is because it scales so well into the late game, and we see another explosive cast burn from ZZ Tai. I mean, you talked about how IG pulled a small loan from the bank. I mean, I think IG's starting to, rob the whole bank right here just because of how well their champions scale into the late game. A Renekton, Lee Sin, Ziggs combo just will not be able to do anything to a Gragas, Alistar, Vayne, Shyvana, even a Vi. All of them are so strong and have such nice map presence in the late game that really, at this point, IG has very little to be afraid of.
All 5 members of Invictus Gaming are waiting for the opportunity to dive this turret. They are going to have to be a little bit careful, and ZZ-Tai just does enormous amounts of damage. He's now added a Void Staff to his items, which is going to chunk down his opponents with those barrel rolls and explosive casks. We can see Booping forced to recall once again, and without the utility that Lee Sin provides, this is almost certainly going to be the tier 2 turret falling for Energy Pacemaker as Invictus Gaming continue to increase the advantage. And you're exactly right. It wasn't alone that Invictus Gaming took out. They were just scoping the joint out for when they rob it later on. And they're doing exactly that. They're robbing Energy Pacemaker blind.
This is a straight Bonnie and Clyde operation we're seeing right now, man. But honestly, and IG's doing the smart thing by taking this dragon. Honestly, IG could have kept pressing the advantage on those turrets by Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong's unwillingness to engage under turret right there shows that, I mean, if they're not willing to engage under that turret, they probably wouldn't be able to engage at all. We see a small skirmish going on. EP.HK would be very unwise to fight this.
Domo going to be forced to back away from all 5 members of IG. This is Kid now engaging. Mega Inferno Bomb goes down. It is going to do a healthy amount of damage, but ZZ-Tai picks up the kill onto Domo. Now Booping caught out of position, going to be forced to back away. Illusion doesn't have his Sultan Battery anymore, as he did use it to try to catch Booping. Was unsuccessful. Now Supercat backing away from that Vi. Vi versus Zig, certainly an interesting chase indeed, but it looks like this is a really weird place for Supercat to be. He does have Satchel Charge, so he should be able to escape relatively easily.
Yeah, but Supercat's going back because they know that IG's taking Baron right now.
Yeah, Invictus Gaming doesn't have a problem with Ziggs escaping. They say there's bigger fish to fry. They turn onto the Baron pit. This could be very scary as the bouncing bomb comes out. It is going to miss. Booping, waiting over the wall, throws over the Sonic Wave. It is a successful steal for Energy Pacemaker. They get the Baron buff as Kane secures it with his Boomerang Blade, but at what cost as 3 members of Energy Pacemaker fall? Amazing J forced to wait for his slip dash to get away. He is going to get over the wall, but PDD continuing to provide chase. Amazing J, the only member with Baron buff. I think Domo has it too. Despite that, though, is it enough for Energy Pacemaker to turn it around?
That's really nice for EP.HK to get. Honestly, it might not, in all likeliness, it might not be enough for EP.HK to turn it around. However, if they can successfully hold off the pushes that are going to come out from Invictus Gaming with this Baron buff, then that's an overall win for EP.HK. They can possibly set up some wards again, and then eventually try to take control of more advantages on the map. Maybe get a pick, maybe just catch someone out. Maybe there's an outplay, but really nice job from EP.HK, especially from Kane, who's able to steal that Baron away with the last tick of her Boomerang Blade.
That is going to give a nice amount of gold over to Energy Pacemaker, but despite that bonus 200 gold per champion, it is still a 13,000 gold lead in favor of Invictus Gaming 13 minutes in, as not a single member from Invictus Gaming has died, not even once. And take a look at the kill distributions. 301 on ZZ-Tai, 302 on Kid. Those numbers are just going to continue to grow as the game goes on.
And there are CS leads all over the board right now for Invictus Gaming. And IG, despite losing that Baron, is in a very good position. IG might even hope to, slightly bait Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong out into a fight, given that EP.HK might be a little bit more confident after stealing it. What EP.HK should do is just wait it out. They shouldn't engage in any fights unless there's a grievous misplay that comes out from IG. EP.HK needs to be patient. This is going to really test their experience and growth as a team right here.
We'll have to keep an eye on how well they do that, as we do have wards being dropped all over the map for IG. That Alistar just casually waiting in the jungle. Nothing like waking up in the morning and seeing Alistar waiting outside your window for someone to just step out just a little bit too far and knock them into the very terrifying Kid on Vayne and ZZ Tai on Gragas. And PDD having added now a Guardian Angel to his Spirit Visage and Sunfire is an absolute monster. That dragon is going to be terrifying. Looks like this is going to be the fight that goes down. A huge explosive cast catches all 5 members of EP.HK. 2 of them fall almost instantly as Kane gets nuked down. Amazing J looks like he's going to escape, but he does throw down the Dominus to survive for the time being. PDD doesn't even care that he's taking all of that damage. He is just soaking it so easily, and he even has the Guardian Angel for the revive. But that doesn't matter as IG take the inhibitor turret, and they move now onto the next inhibitor turret. They don't even care about the minions anymore.
Right. Honestly, I mean, really nice angle. PDD and Kitties from the side of Invictus Gaming really coordinated that really well. They're going to take this second tier turret right here, and I suspect that they will go back and shop after this objective is taken. And yeah, I was holding my breath because I thought that ZZ Tai was about to make a play, but it doesn't look like they will. I would rather IG play safe and try to maintain their perfect record and keep and just recall right now and then and just come back for that mid lane turret. But I mean, like I said before, the game is at a 16,000 gold lead and 33 minutes in. The game is in IG's hands right now. They can completely dictate the pace of this game. We might see another fight right here.
PDD going to have his completed Dragon's Rage. He goes in. The explosive cask is thrown out. It catches 3 members of Energy Pacemaker. 2 of them get bursted down as Domo falls. Looks like Kane is about to be the next one to fall. He actually did survive, booping dangerously low. This is Kid flashing over the wall, going for enormous amounts of damage. He's regenerating just as much. Amazing gets low. A bouncing bomb is not enough to kill the Kid as he survives with barely a tick of health. And again, no one from Invictus Gaming has died. They're 13-0, 20,000 gold ahead, looking to close out the game.
Right, IG might actually decide to close out the game here, and they can, considering that there's 15 seconds left on Booping's Lee Sin. They do decide to back out, however. That is a smart play, and they'll all they have to do is really just go by, collect some items, and then come back and try to stomp their way towards those Nexus turrets. Kid right there with a really spectacular play decides to flash over the wall, uses the Blade of the Ruined King proc to speed himself up, and duels maybe a 3v4, albeit those 4 champions on the side of Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong were all fairly low, but duels in just a 1v4 by himself over the wall inside the base of Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Honestly, the members of Invictus Gaming don't care, they shouldn't care, and they can either wait for this Baron to respawn and then eventually go for it, or they can just close out the game right here.
And this is a bit interesting. We have Guardian Angels being built across the board for Invictus Gaming. Both Kitties and that was PDD have added another. Oh no, not that. That was Kitties and Illusion now have a Guardian Angel. So not only does Energy Pacemaker have to kill Invictus Gaming once, but they're gonna have to do it again when they respawn after the Guardian Angel procs.
Yeah, Kid's actually waiting for some gold here. Oh, and yeah, and I believe Illusion just soloed that dragon, and now he's about to head over to the mid lane. IG and the Chinese scene in particular are pretty big advocates of that early Guardian Angel, given the fact that you're fairly ahead in the mid game. I know that a lot of other regions, specifically in North America and the European LCS, Guardian Angel isn't as popular as an item anymore, despite the whole Moscow 5-man Guardian Angel strategy coming out in Season 2. But Chinese players really like to buy Guardian Angel and consistently making themselves a threat throughout team fights. PDD is zoning 1v5 over here.
And he has got no problem as he has added a Warmogs to further soak additional damage. What is that? 4.2 thousand health to cope with the damage Energy Pacemaker is going to throw out. And it looks like Invictus Gaming is going to be going for a pure kill-death ratio style pick. And oh no, this is Amazing J really far forward. Has to be careful. Throws down the Dominus. This is the last stand for Energy Pacemaker. If they don't win this fight now, they will almost certainly lose the game, as there is so much on the line, as Kitty's tanking a few turret hits to allow Kid to chunk that down. Looks like Kid is going to take the last inhibitor turret away. PDD trying to catch Kane. Throws out the Dragon's Rage. Kane getting dangerously low. Assault and Battery locking him down. He is going to fall, and he does. Explosive Cast secures the kill. Let's see if we will get that Lee Sin Insect to knock them out of the fountain. No, this is actually PDD finally falling. Unfortunately, Guardian Angel does not activate when you are dying to a fountain. And this is the first kill for Energy Pacemaker. Now Kitty's really far forward, throws down Unbreakable Will to survive a lot of the damage that Amazing J can throw out, and Kid, in the meanwhile, left in this 4v4.
There are so many super minions near Positive Energies. I'm sorry, near EP.HK.
Solar Flare goes down. Illusion dangerously low. He does fall too, and he's about to respawn. He does. Kitty's still alive, and Illusion is going to... Oh no, that was Kitty's finally falling. That's now 2 kills for Energy Pacemaker. Could this be the beginning of a turnaround? I don't think it is going to happen. Kid looks like he is going to secure the kill by throwing out a quick condemn. No, that was actually a barrel out of ZZ Chai securing it, and now yet another fight. This is such a sloppy fight between these two teams, but I don't think it matters, as the Nexus is naked. The super minions are pounding on the front door. They really want to take this, and this is going to be Invictus Gaming with winning game number 2.
Really nice job from Invictus Gaming right there. Honestly, there were some hiccups towards the middle of the game where they could have taken additional objectives, and where they had the opportunity to take additional objectives and they didn't. But overall, a very clean game from both teams. In this case, Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong in Game 1 and Invictus Gaming in Game 2. I'm particularly impressed with PDD's Shyvana. He completely dominated a lane opponent that's supposed to beat him out, even though PD did not go into the 1v1 matchup initially. He did eventually just completely wreck, and you see PD having a little fight over there. He did eventually completely wreck Amazing J's Renekton. So just good overall play from the side of IG, especially from both PDD, Kid, and Illusions.
Really, really phenomenal play between these two teams. Invictus Gaming showing that everybody can have a bad game every once in a while, and not letting it get to them in game number 2, bringing the series to a close. It is 1-1 between Invictus Gaming and Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. Once again, my name is Caster Sata. I'm joined by SouldraXD. Our Twitter handles are going to be in the description, along with a link to the bracket. If you guys like the videos, please throw down a like or leave comments in the description. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Right. I'm Souldra. This is Caster Sata. You can follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much.